The ancient rabbis didn't have very much love for the Roman Empire. They saw Rome as a place where people were only worried about their own physical comfort, where they were concerned with athletics and with games and didn't care for the poor. And so there wasn't a lot of love for the Roman Empire. And in particular, the rabbis weren't very impressed with the gladiator tradition, the tradition where gladiators would fight and very often one or both of them would be killed at the end of the fight. There's this very interesting text. It's a Tosefta, an early rabbinic text, in which the rabbis talk about the question of whether a person, a Jew, is allowed to go to a gladiator fight. And the answer they give there is that in general, a Jew is not allowed to go to a gladiator fight. However, apparently there were some instances where the audience would get to vote on whether the losing gladiator, would live or die at the end of the fight. And what the rabbis say is that that's the exception to the rule, that in the case where the audience will get to vote about whether the gladiator will live or die, in that case, a Jew can go in order to vote to keep that person alive. And the reason that I love this teaching is, first of all, it teaches us that the role of the bystander is not a passive role. Certainly in the 20th century, during the Holocaust, in the 21st century, during many of the wars and the crises that we've had, we've seen so many people who have said, well, I was just following orders. And I wasn't really thinking for myself. I was just doing what I was told, what everybody else was doing. And we don't let those people off the hook. We say, no, we're individual people, independent people with independent abilities to make decisions. And so we don't let somebody off the hook for saying I was just following orders. So people, even in a crowd, have the ability to make decisions for themselves. And the other reason I love this teaching is because we often feel like we don't have any voice, like our vote doesn't count in an election. We feel like we have very little say in the direction of the country. We feel like the politicians don't listen to us. We feel like our money doesn't go very far when we give it away to certain causes. And yet this text says to us, look, even if you're going to be one of thousands of people in this situation, you're doing the right thing could potentially sway the balance so that somebody actually lives as a result of your being there.